Hey, how's it going, everybody? Charlie Wilson here, aka Sinister Charlie. Welcome back. I'm not wearing a tank top for the second day in a row. I feel naked, ironically. And I got a new monitor, so I look up here now for my things. I look here. This is where I look at stuff, and another monitor over here. So, yeah, good stuff. We'll be able to live stream, and I won't have to worry about putting stuff on screen that I don't want on screen, or being able to multitask. That should be good. Yeah, so that's what's going on with me. And my shirt from Fat Electrician should be coming in tomorrow. So that'll be fun. Let's go ahead and like this. This was suggested in the comments. You can also suggest stuff through my email, sinistercharlie@gmail.com, if you feel so inclined. But I read all the comments anyway, so you can just put it down there. Or maybe, I guess if you're putting a link, usually it's safe to just email me, because sometimes it gets caught up and automatically gets censored. Anyway, 900 sonic booms per second, XF84H Thunderscreech. It's a lot like Thunderstruck, I think. I don't know planes. Yeah, but this one started off pretty quick, huh? Let's go. Back.
Today we're talking about the loudest aircraft of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, the XF84H
nice flannel, dude.
Thunderscreech.
Beep, bop, boop, and they're flying around. Going downtown, gonna grab a snack, grab a gumball, and a corn
Real
nuts.
quick, before we get too far into this video is brought to you by my favorite sporting goods store, Shields. They have a bunch of amazing retail locations all across the U.S., but if you don't live near any of those, they have an even better online store that I'm going to have linked down below, where they have literally anything that has anything to do with going outside, hunting gear, fishing gear, camping gear. They have it all, and I would highly recommend you go check out their site. Again, that is linked down below. Let's get back to the video. Now, this is probably one of the most hated aircrafts of all time, both by the pilots and the people that worked on it. It was unaffectionately given the nickname of, and I quote, the mighty ear banger, which is just, we need to move on.
Are you?
All right, here's the deal.
Why would Cosby ears? Okay. All right. I would have cut to the Family Guy clip of ear sex, but that's just me, I don't.
Once upon a time in the 1950s, the United States Navy decided that they wanted a new type of carrier fighter that would be able to take off from an aircraft carrier without using the catapult. That thing that yeets the planes off the flight deck.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, reloading the catapult was taking too long, and the Navy wanted to be able to get more.
By the way, just sorry to pause it again. I know people say don't apologize, but I have to, because I'm, Anyway, I was in the Navy for 6.5 years, or 6 years, 3 months altogether. But I never went on a ship, so I don't know anything about planes or ships or anything. I was a construction worker. I was in the Seabees, so I know nothing about this stuff.
Planes in the air quicker to deliver on healthcare faster. Not a terrible goal. The only problem was jet technology at this point in time simply would not allow a jet to do this, which meant that this new fighter was going to have to be a prop-driven plane like the Sky Raider. But the only problem with that is that the Navy demanded that this new fighter had the same ability as a jet. Okay, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that the Navy is about to try to make a supersonic prop-driven plane. I'm going to say that again, but slower. The United States Navy is going to try to get a plane with a propeller to try to break the sound barrier. Okay, that's like a fucking Amish guy in a boogie breaking a land speed record. They're not supposed to do that. I believe in the Amish. But they're going to try it anyways because America. So they take an F-84 Thunderstreak, they rip the jet engine out of the middle, and then cram an enormous Allison T-40 engine inside of it and slap a propeller on the front. Okay, here's the deal with this engine. It is 5,850 horsepower, and it doesn't have a throttle. It just runs at 100% non-stop all the time. So the only way they were actually able to control the speed of the airplane was to change the pitch of the blades on the propeller, which you can kind of see here. There's those circles that changes the angle, makes the plane go faster or slower without having to change the speed of the engine. The only problem with that is when the blades were put to max pitch to move the most air to go the fastest, it generated so much torque that while the propeller was going one way, the engine wanted to spin the entire plane the other way, basically forcing the plane to do a non-stop barrel roll. Do a barrel roll, do a barrel roll, do a barrel roll, do a barrel roll. And here's the thing, that wasn't even really the problem. The problem was the noise. Okay, bear with me while I try to explain this. I'm not a science teacher, but when you look at a propeller and you see the blades, the tips of the blades are traveling faster than the base of the blades because as it rotates, it has to cover a greater amount of distance in the same amount of time. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, it does,
good, great, okay. Here's what was happening. That engine is turning this propeller at over 900 miles an hour, and because the tips are traveling faster than the base of the blades, the last 12 inches of the tip of each blade...
Penis.
So you got 3 blades, 3 tips are all breaking the sound barrier, but the bases of those blades were not breaking the sound barrier. So each blade would create a sonic boom, back out, and then create another sonic boom almost immediately. And this was generating over 900 sonic booms per second, which basically sounded like one constant sonic boom to everybody involved. To give you an idea of how loud this was, it's believed that this created over 200 decibels of noise. The only thing known to mankind louder than that is the detonation of a major nuclear warhead or a volcano. Okay, this thing was so loud that the shock waves sent one of the engineers into a seizure. It knocked one of the mechanics unconscious and gave everyone anywhere near it nausea, headaches, and vomiting. It was so loud that people in the next town over 45 miles away were complaining at how loud this thing was. And here's the part where I'm gonna upset you. I don't have any audio of it up close because it would literally destroy any microphone that got near it. The best I can give you is this, which is a recording of it from the ground as this thing is flying overhead at like 30,000 feet.
I did.
This plane is so fucking loud, it's almost stealthy. I mean, are you going to hear it coming from 50 miles away? Sure, for a second. Then you're never going to fucking hear anything ever again. I mean, you can't hear the Americans coming if you can't hear. That's just science. So clearly, this aircraft is extremely dangerous to anybody that's even remotely near it, especially the pilot, who's literally sitting behind 900 sonic booms per second that are trying to make him vomit, lose consciousness, and shit his pants all at the same time. And if that wasn't enough, when he finally does get that plane into the air, it's gonna try to torque him into a barrel roll the entire time. So obviously, we're only gonna test fly it like 12 times because, you know, safety third. Get ready. So they find 2 test pilots to fly the...
I did a video on that. Or he did a video on that. I watched that video. And doing God's work over here. PT belts.
This monstrosity. The first test pilot takes it up in the air, brings it back down, lands it. It's a successful test flight, I guess. He gets out of the cockpit, walks up to the engineer of the entire project and says, and I quote, "You're not big enough and there's not enough of you to get me back in that plane." Okay, and that's coming from a test pilot. That dude's already fucking nuts. Bear in mind, the US Air Force approached him and was like, hey, would you like to drive a propeller-driven plane past the sound barrier? And he said yes. And now you have this guy backing out. So clearly, this plane is fucking ridiculous. Cue this man, Hank Beard. He is the second test pilot that did the other 11.
It just sounds like a man's name, you know? I'm Hank Beard. It does.
Test flights, and of the 11 test flights, he had to crash land it 10 fucking times. This dude is literally just given the Grim Reaper blue balls as an occupation. Okay, we don't know this for sure, but legend has it the only thing that kept that plane from barrel rolling nonstop was the sheer weight of this man's nutsack. And when he was asked what he thought about the subject after the test flights, he replied with, and I quote, "What?" So after 12 test flights, they decided to cancel the entire project. Not because it's too dangerous, not because it required 10 crash landings, but because the perpetual sonic booms are literally rattling the airplane apart, as well as completely destroying all the sensitive electronics inside the air control tower. In conclusion, at the end of all the testing, there was a verified speed of 520 miles an hour, making the Thunderscreech one of the fastest prop planes of all time. However, there was an unverified speed of 623 miles an hour, which would make it the fastest prop plane ever, and definitely the loudest. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Stop bugging me. I already bought a shirt. Beep, bop, boop, boop. I bought the shirt. I'm excited for it to come tomorrow because it's gonna look good on me. Probably not. All right. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, thank you for suggesting that. I'm always looking for suggestions. Slowly but surely running out of content. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. please like you and subscribe you down below. It makes me feel good inside. I eat that shit up. Yeah. And put your comments down below if you got any suggestions or you just want to call me a jerk. That's cool too. And also, if you want to send me suggestions, not through comments, you could do it through email, sinistercharlie@gmail.com. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And bye.